Alright, America, as I usually am when I do one of these videos, I'm angry. Because it's Wednesday afternoon, I'm actually driving to the prison right now. And I've just seen so many incidences recently of volunteers who mean well telling prisoners things that are just blatantly untrue. They're spreading bad theology, and it's shallow. It's very secular thing to do. And it's no wonder that a lot of these inmates are disillusioned with the church. You know, there is no room in theology for cutesy, patootsy stuff. Happy clappy super songs. There's no room in ethical prison ministry for condescension. There's no room for trying to whitewash the fact that pain is an integral part of the human experience. At least until Jesus comes back. And so I just, on behalf of the inmates, I really resent it when people come in and they just tell them this gimmicky crap. I'm trying to not give too much information out about specifics, even though I really want to, because this video isn't directed at anybody or any organization. You know, you go into this prison and you look at these guys, like we usually have about 100 guys that come out. And some of them get raped every night. Think about that. Some of these guys get raped every night. And so for these prison ministers to come in and tell them that because Jesus loves them, everything in the world is okay, is so just insulting that I'm getting nauseous even thinking about it. See, we want the resurrection. We want to go to heaven. We want salvation, but we are largely unwilling or unable to realize. Unwilling. Let's not give an excuse. It's unwilling to recognize that in order for us to go with Christ to heaven, to experience the joy of the resurrection, we must also go with him first to Golgotha, where we must struggle spiritually, sometimes for most of our lives. And there are times when we'll pray to God and he will immediately lift our burden from us. But that doesn't happen a lot, does it? Because spiritual struggles are beneficial. If he gave us everything that we wanted all the time, we would make no progress. We would be entitled, spoiled children. So for many of the world's greatest saints even, it took years. Saint Mary of Egypt, hello. She struggled in the desert for 14 years before she finally was no longer tormented by her passions. 14 years. Now, Saint Mary of Egypt is one of the greatest saints in the church, okay? So don't tell me that she had to struggle because she didn't love God enough. Don't tell me that she didn't struggle in the desert for 14 years with very little food, no clothing, no shelter, because she was just somehow, not favored of God. Don't give me that crap, and that is what it is. It's crap. Unfortunately, even fairly pious people in America, they don't want to accept the reality of suffering. It's this convenience mentality that you see everywhere in the U.S. and most of the other countries in the world now, I guess. Right? We don't want to be in a state of flux. We don't want to be anxious. We don't want to feel healthy shame for sin. Because we can't realize that shamed conscience is like a smoke alarm, or fire alarm. right? It's a warning. We need to pay attention to it. I mean, how much of an idiot would you be if you had a carbon monoxide alarm in your home, bearing in mind carbon monoxide is clear, it's odorless, it's tasteless. And if that carbon monoxide alarm goes off, that's telling you, oh, lethal levels of poison in my home, need to leave. So what kind of an idiot would you be if you just turned the alarm off or ripped the batteries out and then went back to bed? What? No. That's called being a fool. So, I want people to remember this, that this is a, damn it. Sorry. Get lost. This is a war, folks. This is a war, and Satan hates no one as much as he hates newly committed Christians. And so there is going to be a battle. And that battle is going to last until the end of time. So don't placate people by saying Jesus loves you and therefore everything is okay. And therefore you shouldn't even have to work at anything spiritually. Don't tell them that. They may want to hear that. But remember, a good friend, good family member, a good parent, however you want to put it, sometimes they have to tell people things they don't want to hear because they need to hear them. So I submit to you that if you're telling people that instantaneously everything's okay, and that when you pray to God to help you, He's going to do it instantaneously, I submit to you that you are either deluded or deluding others, and probably both. This is a war. It's a war that began before created time and will not end until the end of created time. Like all battles, like all wars, to the victor goes the spoils. Except we're not talking about gold and silver and jewels. The spoils in this case are you and I. Humans. You don't want to hear it? I don't care. You need to hear it. So whether or not you're involved in prison at all, think on these things. We're in a war. Even if you can't see it, even if you're not bleeding physically, it's nose to the grindstone time. So think on those things.